Coming up on Now See This. During a Hollywood car chase,
He blows right through the intersection.
cameras roll. And so does the bad guy. Swedish base jumpers break the rules.
Be careful out there.
And their bones.
The pain was awful.
And a man with a flair for destruction becomes a victim of his own talent.
I saw a big white flash.
Whether it's pups in pipes or people in ponds, each rescue is bigger than the next. Think you've seen it all? Now see this. Cries of cowabunga fill the air as surfers compete in Hawaii's Fire Knife Banzai Championships. Fans and celebrities like Pamela Anderson have gathered from across the globe to watch surfers ride waves that crest at over 20 feet high. Many competitors pull off amazing moves beneath the breaking curls. Others find the giant waves nearly breaking them. Every one of these guys knows that to surf is to live on the edge. But Australian Courtney Gray is about to be shoved over that edge. The power of the wave broke Courtney's board and held him underwater. Now lifeguards swim furiously to his rescue. But what they find terrifies them. Courtney's body is floating limply in the surf, and worst of all, he has no pulse. In clinical terms, Courtney is dead. The lifeguards struggle to bring him to shore, but his body is startlingly heavy, making it nearly impossible. It takes 4 men to finally wrestle Courtney onto the beach, where the answer to his extreme dead weight comes gushing forth in the form of foaming seawater. The lifeguards carefully place Courtney's body on the sand. Brine and bile continue to pour out as the lifeguards perform CPR. It seems like he swallowed half the Pacific Ocean. Friends and family pray that Courtney's lifeless heart will start beating on its own again. But with every press on his chest, more fluid is squeezed out of his waterlogged stomach and lungs. After several agonizing moments, everyone's prayers are answered. Courtney begins to cough up water on his own. He's alive, but as Courtney comes to, he has no idea what happened to him. His last recollection was fighting for the wave that nearly killed him.
The last thing I remember before being pulled from the water was thinking to myself, this is getting too crowded.
Courtney's next clear memory is of waking up in the hospital.
I woke up and I was in intensive care, and all the boys were by the bedside, my girlfriend and a couple of wine friends. And I said, what's going on? They said, you died. So, yeah.
Had Courtney's body been deprived of oxygen for more than 6 minutes, he would never have been revived. Thanks to the determination of his rescuers, he was brought back from the brink of death. And even though Courtney suffered no brain damage, his behavior implies he may not be quite right in the head. For less than a week later, he was back on his board riding the swells.
Surfing's something that gets, like it infects you kind of thing. It's so addictive, and it's been so much a part of my life up until that accident. There was no way I was going to walk away from it.
Today, Courtney Gray has the enlightened philosophy of those rare people who have stepped through death's door and returned to talk about it.
Just live life. I mean, don't hold back. Could be over tomorrow.
These base jumpers are willing to trespass for the extreme sport they love. But today, one of them will pay the price. Mikhail Ledin and his buddies search Sweden high and low, looking for the perfect plunge. Most spots they choose are off limits, including this 250-foot-high crane that Mikhail and his friends have been eyeing for some time. It's abandoned, but surrounded with security cameras and patrolmen.
Be careful out there.
Climbing the crane undetected is a must. As a security guard himself, Mikhail knows he could be slapped with serious fines and lose his job if cops catch him. All the guys are wired with helmet cams to record their daring adventure, but Mikhail's home movie has a terrible surprise ending. A second helmet cam attached to fellow jumper Marcus Olofsson records the blow from down below. It's a mad dash to get to Mikhail, but Marcus's own chute is dragging him down. He just hopes he can get to his buddy in time. Mikhail is still breathing, but not easily. The asphalt busted him up bad, breaking both ankles and his back.
When I hit the ground, I felt immediately that it was very bad, and the pain was awful, very awful.
The pounding is so extreme, he demands his friends remove his helmet and shoes immediately. An ambulance is coming, and not far behind are the cops. Mikhail has only minutes to decide if it's worth waiting for help at the risk of getting caught. But from the sound of things, Mikhail isn't going anywhere. He's praying the paramedics will kill the pain quickly and quietly get him on his way. They pump him full of morphine, which helps Mikhail forget the hurt, but not the painful memory of his messy jump.
When my parachute opened, I saw immediately that I had a line over in the middle of the canopy. I just had 4.5 seconds until I hit the asphalt, so not so much time to think.
Or react. The short distance down doesn't allow time for error. By the time Mikhail realized his chute had malfunctioned, he was just a second away from his tumultuous touchdown. Mikhail lost 8 months laid up in a hospital, but he didn't lose one thing, his job. The ambulance took him away before police arrived, and no charges were filed. Looking back, this daredevil is grateful he still has his security gig and the use of all his limbs, and he won't be risking either anytime too soon.
If I base jump again, it will never be at that altitude. I will go higher, but it's too early for me to decide yet.
A leisurely stroll through this San Francisco park has become every dog owner's nightmare.
So I was running around the park, getting increasingly anxious. I won't say hysterical, but definitely leaning in that direction.
Minutes ago, Loretta Chardin was separated from her beloved pet, an 8-month-old shepherd retriever mix named Bodhi. After being spooked by a falling branch, her faithful companion found shelter in an uncovered drain pipe.
Suddenly someone says, "I can hear him. I can hear him down there," and he pointed to a grating in the culvert.
And now he finds himself 30 feet away from the entrance, hopelessly stuck. A mere pup with no survival skills.
14 feet? Where's 14 feet up here?
14 feet, right about here.
However, finding him is only half the battle. The pipes are ancient, and park personnel has no idea where they go.
Now, I was very concerned that there was a possibility that he might not be rescued.
The firemen and the maintenance crew can only take an educated guess where the dog is located. Loretta is beside herself because Bodhi is like a child to her.
He's my companion, my significant other. I love him.
The rescuers work up a sweat in the shallow trench and soon strike something solid. But the risk of collapse is high, so they proceed with caution. However, what they find is not part of the old pipe system.
We had to go through a huge tombstone that was laid on top of the pipe.
Ironically, Bodhi is trapped under some old tombstones from when the urban park was a cemetery. Now they serve to keep the dog entombed. As they break through the grave markers, Bodhi gets his nose out far enough to breathe some fresh air.
It's a lot easier to get a cat out of a tree. Okay, sweetie. It's okay, honey.
Any room to help me? Let me see if I can get this.
Finally, the rescuers squeeze the thankful pup out of the hole.
Careful with those hands. God love the fire department. Where's my camera?
Go back, go back. Come on, buddy.
Fireman!
Bodhi and his owner are united, thanks to these persistent San Francisco firemen, and she could not have been more grateful.
I always thought firefighters were heroes, and I had a first-hand experience. And Bodhi and I are forever indebted.
Come on, I want to stay on that leash, I think, from now on.
And to those who might think it was way too much effort to save a single dog, Loretta has an answer.
I would say that they are fools because all life is precious, and we should do everything we can to preserve it.
His name is Tommy McTagg, and Trouble is his middle name. Literally. Tommy Trouble McTagg began his death-defying career as a stuntman for the movies. Now he's in the automotive business. That is, the business of jumping, crashing, and smashing cars to pieces. And once a stunt is over, Tommy likes to celebrate. Like this. Tommy is a world-class daredevil, notorious for performing some of the riskiest car stunts ever. From the Sidewinder to the pipe ramp, the aerial domino, and the spectacular suicide spiral. But Tommy's signature stunt is the dive bomb, where he vaults his vehicle off a ramp and nosedives onto a bed of cars. Tommy's vehicles are outfitted with a durable roll cage, plus a 5-point safety harness. But the key to surviving this kind of stunt is the way the catch cars he lands on absorb most of the impact. But things don't always go as planned. Tonight, Tommy is performing the dive bomb stunt at the Atco Motor Speedway in New Jersey. Little does he know, it could be the last jump of his career. Instead of sticking the landing into the cars, Tommy's vehicle cartwheels over them and slams down onto the pavement, right on its roof. Tommy's crew rushes over to the crash site. They've never seen him make such a brutal crash landing. Everyone holds their breath as the anxious crew checks on Tommy.
Where you hurt? Let me get the belt off. Let me get the belt off.
He's alive, but no one can tell what type of injuries he may have suffered. As for Tommy, all he cares about is what went wrong with the stunt.
I thought everything was fine, and then all of a sudden, at the last second, that car just tucked and rolled, and I had a feeling I was going to come in for a hard hit.
From his point of view, you can see how right he was.
I saw a big white flash, and I thought I broke my neck and back. So I was sitting in there all cramped and stuck. But after about a few seconds, I knew I was okay, and all I really wanted to do was get out of that car.
Tommy is eager to prove to the crowd and himself that he's okay. With the help of his crew, he climbs up for his victory stance, but he's in a lot of pain. He'll later find out that the crash compressed 2 discs in his spine, an injury that plagues him to this day.
It was the first time I ever thought about ending my career. It was just that painful and that quick.
But you can't keep a good daredevil down. Tommy Trouble McTague lives for performing stunts. You could even say he's addicted. But it's not the excitement of a dramatic jump that keeps him coming back. It's what happens when the stunt is over.
The best part of the whole thing is after I've crashed and after I've landed and I'm not hurt and I get out of the car and get on the roof.
Cunningham Lake, Nebraska is a fisherman's paradise. But when the waters get rough, it's a mean place to be. A father and daughter out for some Sunday fishing have been thrown out of their vessel and left stranded in frigid 50-degree waters. With them are 2 police water rescuers who have dropped from the air to provide the shivering victims life vests and some assuring news. A rescue boat is on the way. Wicked winds and choppy waves make it tough for rescuers to reach the stranded victims. But when they do, everyone breathes a sigh of relief. 2 officers jump out and help lift the father and daughter on board the boat. Now, it's a race to get them to a warm ambulance before hypothermia sets in. With the 2 of them out of harm's way, it appears the rescue is over. Officer Doug Klein wraps up the day's efforts, telling news cameras it was a complete success.
We're getting, everyone's okay.
Unfortunately, he spoke too soon. In the midst of his briefing, the boat which was hauling back the remaining rescuers tips over. Now there are 6 rescuers that need rescuing. Emergency crews on shore are panicked. That was the town's only rescue boat. A police chopper flies in to help, but it only worsens the waves and the crew can't haul them all up. The best they can do is toss a flotation board into the water and pull 1 lucky rescuer to shore. The others wait for the chopper to return for another rescue. But there's no time for any more aerial assistance. An electrical storm is coming on, making it dangerous for the chopper to get too close to the marooned men. They have everything working against them. No boat, no chopper, and no other options left. Ironically, the very same wind and waves that have hampered their rescue for hours have slowly been pushing them toward shore. Risking hypothermia, they decide to save themselves, swimming to safety and dragging their boat with them. After all, it's their only one, and if this ever happens again, the rescue team will be prepared for the unpredictable. Los Angeles, California. It's bedlam on the streets as police pursue a drug suspect who will do anything to stay out of jail.
LAPD believe they've got an armed and dangerous suspect. That's why they started the pursuit in the first place.
With every mile that flies past, the driver grows more reckless.
He blows right through the intersection, red light. LAPD goes right through the intersection behind him.
He seems to be trying to drive in places the cops won't follow.
He's going to have to go to the wrong side of the road, and that's what he does. Wrong side of the road, northbound Wilton. He's got nowhere to go. He's got a fresh green light. Here he goes, through the intersection.
But the rampage comes to a sudden standstill at a crowded red light.
Oh, he's got nowhere to go here. He's totally boxed in. LAPD right there on the other side. This is a very dangerous situation. She's got a green light, but nobody's moving.
It's touch and go. If the suspect is armed, officers fear he could jump out and try to take a hostage. But the driver is in flight mode, so once he sees an opening, he takes it. And when he hits a straightaway, he floors it.
He's flying up Western. Unbelievable. And there's a crowded intersection up ahead here.
As he arrives at the intersection, the suspect tries to throw off his pursuers.
And he's squeezing all the way over to the right now. Let's see what happens. He's got lots of cross traffic. Let's see if he tries to make it through the right turn there. No, he goes right through and goes left.
But at the next junction, the suspect has to deal with heavier cross traffic.
Hard on the brake. Suspect sees cross traffic. Oh, he looks like almost gets hit.
The driver appears desperately disoriented. He flies onto the freeway, and then just as quickly flies off. It may not have been the wisest move.
He's stuck. Now he's boxed in. He's going to have to go around that car.
When the car in front of him pulls up, the suspect decides to go off-road.
Up on the curb. Up on the curb now. Southbound on the curb. Construction zone. He's getting away from the officers right now. One officer up on the curb following him. And there's pedestrians right there.
The pedestrians seem oblivious to the driver bearing down on them. Luckily, the suspect just misses, giving them a rude awakening. The police don't like close calls like that, so they resolve to put more pressure on the man. But the suspect doesn't respond well to pressure.
U-turn. U-turn. They're going to try and box him in. And he almost hits head-on into that LAPD officer. Wow.
It was an impulsive maneuver for the slippery suspect, but for the moment, it seems like it might have paid off.
And he's on the wrong side of the road now, and he's really picking up speed. Wrong side, there's traffic there. He blows right through the intersection.
As soon as the dogged officers catch up again, the suspect pulls another about-face.
U-turn, hits the curb, goes up on the curb. They've backed off some of the units.
As the police units scramble to regroup, the driver pushes ahead, literally.
Oh, he hits that car almost. Going back to the same area. Now he thinks he's lost the cops.
Having tried every escape route on the city streets, the suspect heads for the dark, winding roads of the Hollywood Hills.
He's blacked out now. He's blacked out. No lights on that car. Moving up into this residential neighborhood in the Hollywood Hills. Very dangerous because it's so dark there. Windy, windy roads.
For a while, it appears the suspect has disappeared into the night, but the all-seeing spotlight of the police chopper finds him again. And the pursuit resumes along the snaking streets and blind turns. But when the suspect tries to push his car and his driving skill to the limit, neither are up to the task.
Look at that! Oh, he loses control there! Hits the guardrail, continues, now drives across the street, and the car overturns!
Within seconds, the undercarriage of the vehicle bursts into flames.
Officers now coming up. They don't know if he's armed or not. They're going to try and get him out of that car before it completely burns.
The officers don't find a gun. All they find is a battered suspect who needs to be pulled out of the burning wreckage. Thankfully, they put the fire out before the flames reach the gas tank. Meanwhile, the suspect is cuffed and taken into custody. The man is dazed, but not badly hurt. He's lucky. After all, a crash like that could have resulted in serious injury, or worse. It was a chase that began with reckless abandon.
Wrong side of the road.
And ended in wreckage.
And the car overturned.
Now, the suspect who didn't seem to know where he was going
U-turn.
is being taken to the one place he knew he didn't want to be. Jail. In the Romanian town of Craiova, one man's misfortune has drawn a sympathetic crowd. Firefighters and construction workers are attempting a dramatic rescue. The victim? The man's cow, who has fallen into a sewer canal. The man is a farmer, and this is his only dairy cow. The animal was grazing on this hillside when a sewer lid collapsed under its weight, and it tangled its legs in the underground plumbing. The cow's injuries are unknown, but the farmer refuses to give up hope, and the community refuses to give up on the farmer. People arrive from all over town to lend a hand, and it will take their combined efforts for this rescue to succeed. Helpers wrap a blanket around the cow's head to keep her protected and calm. Then a construction worker uses his jackhammer to widen the opening, while a firefighter shields the cow from the falling chips of concrete. It's a long and tedious process, but the effort is worth it if they can save a man's livelihood. When the hole is finally cleared, the construction crew lends them their crane. The rescue effort now involves citizens, emergency personnel, and local businesses. But that's not all. 4 soldiers arrive from a nearby military base to help secure the cow's harness. It's above and beyond their call of duty, but they're glad to be of assistance. As the crane lowers into place, there's nothing left for the nervous owner to do but watch. It's the culmination of several hours of the community's effort, and it's time for the delicate lifting to begin. The crane's motor revs into high gear. As the cow gets lifted, she kicks, wanting to break free from the straps that strain against her abdomen. But rescuers maintain the slow pace for the animal's safety. As she clears the edge of the hole, the crane pivots her over solid ground and eases her back to earth. The crowd awaits word of her condition. Within moments, they get their answer. The cow is back on her feet, utterly uninjured. As the owner has a joyous reunion with her, the crowd celebrates too. The farmer is touched by the public's generosity and care. He may not be a man of many possessions, but he's definitely been enriched by the day's events. There's an expression that says it takes a village to raise a child. But in this case, the village raised something much bigger. A 1,500-pound cow and the community's pride and spirit.